In my opinion, Treyarch tends to make pretty arcadey Call of Duty games. They lean into the faster pace and aggressive style that a lot of people love from the franchise. But sometimes they drop a gun. I'm just going to say it. It's kind of dumb. What is up, everybody? Jimmy or Chaos. Today we're going to be taking a look at what I think are 10 of the dumbest Treyarch guns in Call of Duty history. Yeah, we're going to be talking about pre-patch guns here. I mean, where it's relevant. So you let me know in the comments what you think the dumbest Treyarch gun of all time is. Drop a like on this video. Are you guys seeing all these Modern Warfare rumors swirling around? Should we do a video and cover everything, or should we just turn a blind eye and continue with our top 10s? You let me know in the comment section. At number 10, the Hades in Black Ops 4, specifically with the crossbar operator mod equipped. Now, the Hades light machine gun was a pretty average weapon all around. Not really dumb. Featured a moderate fire rate, decent damage. But what made it dumb was the crossbar. It got rid of the iron sights and instead gave you this tighter hip fire spread, basically turning it into a beefier version of the chainsaw from Call of Duty Ghost. And if you remember the chainsaw, you get 10 bonus points. With how quickly Black Ops 4 played and how accurate this thing was with the crossbar equipped, the Hades was widely seen as one of the most obnoxious guns in the entire game because you could literally run around at full speed, melt people from mid-range, all while spamming a giant LMG magazine without letting go of the little trigger. You could literally wipe out entire groups of enemies without reloading or aiming down the sights or slowing down your movement. That's dumb. It was fun to use, but dumb. Dumb to go up against. That's why it gets the spot today on the dumbest list. At number 9. Have you ever thought you could predict the future? Well, now's your chance. Today's video is powered by Kalshi.com, the only place to trade on events legally in all 50 states, and you can use the market to understand what's going on in the world. Let me give you an example. James Bond. It's a huge IP, and everybody wants to know who's going to be the next James Bond. It's as important of a casting as there's ever been in a movie franchise. Well, on Kalshi, we can predict and trade on who's going to be the next James Bond. We have Callum Turner, we have Jacob Elordi, and we have Aaron Taylor Johnson, the 3 in the front running spots. So to me, I'm going to go with the trends. I'm going to go with Callum Turner is going to be the next James Bond. It doesn't stop there. You could trade on whether or not Sadie Sink is going to be the next Jean Grey in Spider-Man. You can trade on whether or not Avengers Doomsday will be delayed or not. Or if you're really peering into the future, you could trade on whether or not GTA 6 will release before 2027. We could take it further. Will we get the next GTA trailer before May 27th? Well, you can trade on it if you think you know. Click our link in the description to check out the James Bond actor market and all of these markets yourself and get $10 when you trade $10. Any Elder Scrolls 6 or Fallout 5 fans out there? I've been using the platform, and let's just say I've got my eyes on both of these. Again, guys, use our link in the description to trade on any of these markets, and it's the pinned comment. If there's a market out there, it's probably on Kalshi, and get $10 when you trade $10. Jackal PDW in Black Ops 6 beta. Jackal had a major balancing issue for the first few months of Black Ops 6 lifecycle, but it was at its absolute peak during the beta. This SMG had the above average fire rate, above average damage, below average recoil, incredibly handling speeds. Basically, it had everything you'd ever want from an SMG, but no drawbacks, which that led to a lot of people spamming it during the beta period since it hilariously outclassed basically everything at your disposal. Now, at close range, that high damage would make it just a monster. At mid and long range, the range drop-off wasn't nearly strong enough to make it the worst thing out there. Was it worse than an assault rifle? The Jackal completely destroyed the BO6 beta. And even though it was still, I guess, a little busted during the first few weeks of the release, nowhere near as bad or dumb as it was in the beta. That version gets a spot today. And since we're talking about beta SMGs, at number 8, the Razorback in Black Ops 3's beta, or pre-beta. The Razorback had one of the most drastic falls from grace in Call of Duty history. It's up there with the PDW from Black Ops 2. Now, when Black Ops 3 first launched, the Razorback was widely seen as the worst SMG in the game because of the low fire rate, the moderate damage, which gave it a pretty underwhelming time to kill. But during the beta period, it was broken. It still had an average fire rate, but it also dealt way more damage per shot. Gave it an insane 3-shot kill range while also maintaining that laser-like accuracy and overly generous range values. The Razorback completely outclassed every other SMG and assault rifle in Black Ops 3 during the beta period. And Treyarch, they hit it with a super hard nerf hammer before the 1.0 release of Black Ops 3. Now, I agree, the nerf was justified. I still think they went a little too far. The Razorback was certainly a little too good, but the nerf ended up making it borderline useless compared to other SMGs and assault rifles in the game on launch day. But if you were there for the beta or you were there for pre-alpha like I was, this gun was dumb. At number 7, can't have a list like this without the MP40, specifically World at War's Now, recoil is bouncy. Somebody will argue with me occasionally and be like, the MP40 wasn't that overpowered because it was bouncy. Are you kidding me? Come on. The fire rate was a bit low, but it didn't matter. It's one of the most busted weapons Treyarch has ever put their name on. This SMG would hit for 59 base damage. 59 base damage without stopping power. I don't need to say anything else. We could stop right here. Admit you could use your second perk slot for something like, I don't know, double tap, juggernaut. I mean, since the default stats of the gun were already busted, plus since the majority of the weapons in World at War were semi-auto or bouncy rifles, the MP40 just felt perfect in the hands of most players because all you had to do was point, click, shoot, and hold on to the recoil for a quick 2-shot kill. I mean, it completely dictated the way World at War was played. I still think the game overall would have been better if there wasn't an MP40. I'm not saying it wasn't fun, but I think everybody can agree that if the gun had been more properly balanced, it would have given a ton of other World at War games a chance to or guns a chance to shine through, because they didn't. We could have had some more all-time favorites. But as the game stands, the MP40 was the only gun worth using, and honestly, that's dumb. At number 6. The AEK-973, awesome name by the way, pre-patched in Black Ops 6. A 3-round burst marksman rifle that started out the Black Ops 6 era around the middle of the tier list, but once people started unlocking the rapid fire attachment, it got dumb quick. It had rapid fire, it was the most popular gun in the game once it was discovered, and I honestly don't blame people for spamming it. The time to kill was nearly instant. The fire rate was so quick, all topped off with a recoil that was super easy to predict and control. It honestly felt like the COD 4 M16 for a while, but thankfully, Treyarch came to their senses. They ended up nerfing it. If you boot up the game today, it's actually pretty balanced. You'll run into somebody every now and again trying to relive the glory days of the pre-patch version, but if you want to perform well at the AEK these days, you're going to have to put some work in it. That's how it should be. If you were one of the people spamming it before the patch, let's just say, you know why it's here today. Now we arrive at the top 5. The FAMAS and Black Ops. I go back to the argument people will say, it wasn't overpowered because of the recoil. Stop. It's one of the most obviously overpowered guns in Call of Duty history. We've talked about it 1,000 times. Fired at 900 rounds per minute, killed in 3 bullets up close, killed in 4 bullets from across the map. Time to kill was literally one of the best in the game from any distance, and that made it really hard to justify using anything else. Yes, some people like myself, they would use the Galil or the Commando in a desperate attempt to make themselves feel cool or relevant, but everybody knew, I mean, if you were trying to perform the best you could in the original Black Ops, you were using the FAMAS. You were. Or like me, you were using the Enfield. Literally, the only downside to this gun was the recoil. Sometimes get a little high, yes, but since it was almost entirely vertical, it wasn't that big a deal. Top tier weapon. Dumb. At number 4, the 205 Brecci in Black Ops 3. There have been so many annoying shotguns in Call of Duty history, but I seriously doubt any of them are more annoying than the Brecci. I know you guys are going to feel me on this one. You always do. Semi-auto shotgun, high fire rate, big default magazine, absurd 2 to 3 shot kill range. Treyarch decided to tweak the way shotguns work in this game, meaning there was no longer as much incentive to hit the majority of your pellets in your shotgun blast. But with the new shotgun mechanics, the 205 Brecci was a complete freak of nature because the effective range was huge. The hitbox, it was gigantic, and the recoil and reload animations were so short and sweet, it was a problem. The only way to beat the Brecci, I've said this a million times, was to whip out your own Brecci, and that just wasn't a recipe for healthy gameplay experiences. Like we're ever going to have healthy gameplay experiences in Call of Duty. Jimmy, shut up. Anyway, anyone who used the Brecci was just making Black Ops 3 a worse experience, and if you were one of those people, I'm going to move on. At number 3. The Tech 9 pre-patch in Black Ops Cold War. Now, it didn't raise very many eyebrows when it was first added to Black Ops Cold War, mainly because it was a semi-auto SMG. Most people read the description, semi-auto SMG, and they quietly move on. But once people started experimenting, those people realized how broken it was, especially once they discovered the full auto attachment that made it hands down the best gun in the game. In both semi-auto and full auto mode, Tech 9 had an unreasonably good damage profile that could erase players from basically any distance far quicker than they could actually react. It was basically like playing the game on easy mode. And you know how there's different fun name difficulty settings in like the Wolfenstein games, and the lowest difficulty is Don't Hurt Me Daddy? Yeah, the pre-patch Tech 9 was the Don't Hurt Me Daddy of Black Ops Cold War. And if you were one of the people using it, you know I'm right. You're shaking your head right now. It was a completely brain dead, completely overpowered, and of course, part of the Battle Pass weapon, so a bunch of people paid real-world money to get their hands on it before it was patched. Thanks, Treyarch. At number 2. The XMC pre-patch for Black Ops 3. Everybody and their mother loved the MSMC in Black Ops 2, so maybe it was an obvious pick to remake for Black Ops 3, but when the XMC made its debut through supply drops, of course, the community was furious, pissed off, and for good reason. Now, the XMC looked like the MSMC. Featured a lot of buffs that made it way too powerful, especially for a gun that you're going to have to unlock by getting lucky in a supply drop instead of doing any kind of in-game challenges or skills that could earn it directly. So compared to the classic BO2 SMG, Well, the XMC featured a higher fire rate, higher damage, better range, quicker reload animation, lower recoil. At this point, why do you call it the XMC? Why didn't you just... I mean, why'd you give it the MSMC's body? Why not just give it a brand new body and name? That way you don't end up pissing off the Black Ops 2 fans who now have to sit and watch their favorite gun from Black Ops 2 turn into the most hated gun in COD history. Not the most hated, but close. At number 1, the VMP pre-patch in Black Ops 4. Somebody said the other day that I get worked up by the end of these videos. Is that true? If that's true, that may not be healthy. Another SMG remake of the previous Black Ops gun, and once again, entirely overpowered to the point you gotta wonder, was it done on purpose? I'll be blunt here. The VMP in Black Ops 4 was absolutely overpowered on purpose. I feel that way. There's no way Treyarch tested this version of the gun and didn't think there was going to be anything wrong with it. Now, the XMC was basically an entirely different gun from the gun it tried to remake. The VMP, it's a weirder case. Instead of changing things like the fire rate, the recoil, all that stuff, the Black Ops 4 version of the VMP essentially took the Black Ops 3 version and turned all the damage stats straight up. So it hit harder, hit for longer distances, kicked about the same amount as the original, which wasn't much, but you ended up with an SMG that melted almost instantly up close and super quick at mid-long range, all at the cost of bouncy recoil. You see the pattern there? Even though the recoil wasn't hard to control and you could also slap a grip attachment on it and eliminate 90% of the recoil. I don't know if that's actually true, but you can fact check me. The Black Ops 4 VMP was one of the most hated guns in COD history, and it was dumb. Like I said, there's no way that the testers over at Treyarch did not notice how busted this was, but they let it out the door so that people would waste a bunch of money on battle passes and supply drops. You cannot convince me otherwise. This was one of the dumbest guns in Treyarch history. No, it was the dumbest. I put it at number 1. Landslide winner. Completely overpowered, completely obviously overpowered, while also being distributed in a way that was not nice. There you go. Let me know 2 Treyarch guns that were dumb, that did not get the love they deserve today, and I will see you guys soon.